Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. In this video we are going to see a very useful trick using M-code language inside Power Query. In this video we are going to see an example of a table that contains only one column. However, inside this column we have 4 separate pieces of info. We need to separate this column into 4 columns. We can achieve the same using Power Query editor. However, the trick here is that we have 4 different delimiters or 3 different delimiters. If you want to do it using the Power Query editor, you need to do at least 3 steps inside the Power Query editor. And in this video, we're going to see how we can do the same, but in only one applied step using some changes inside the function used for M language. Actually, this trick is not originally mine. I just received it in a comment, one of the comments that I received on one of my old videos. However, I like it very much and I wanted to share with you. This video will be relatively quick, so let's go directly to Power Query to look at the example and how we are going to solve this using only one applied step and a small change in the M language. We have a table containing only one column. However, this column containing 4 different pieces of info. First one is the customer number, and then we have the invoice number, the amount, and finally the month. These 4 different pieces of info separated by 3 different delimiters. If you look at the data itself, we start with the customer number and then we have the first delimiter, the dash, and then the invoice number. The second delimiter will be a semicolon, then the amount, and finally we have a space as a final delimiter between the amount and the month. The requirement is to split this column into 4 different columns, each column containing a separate piece of info using the Power Query on one condition. The condition is to do this in only one applied step. The table is already loaded into Power Query. On the right hand side we have only one applied step, which is the source. Let me at the beginning try to use the Power Query editor. So while selecting this column, I'm going to home. I have the split column option. I'm going to select and then by delimiter. This will trigger the split column by delimiter window. You will see that Power Query already selected custom and then dash. I think this is a good start. We have dash at the beginning. You can notice here in the data we have our first delimiter is dash, so no problem, we can just try this together. And then each occurrence, however we have only one occurrence for the dash, but no problem, let's try it this way. So I'm going to click on OK, and this will split our column into 2 columns. First one will contain only the customer number, and the second column will contain the rest of the information, which is basically 3 different pieces of information. On the right hand side we have now 3 steps. First one is the source, no problem, and then split column by delimiter. I need this one, however the change type I don't need it for the moment, so let me just get rid of it. Now I'm going to expand the formula bar in order to have a look into the function used for this purpose. If you look at the function, it is Table.SplitColumn expected. This is the function that always used to split the columns. Then the first argument is the source, and source is nothing but the table coming from the previous step. And then comma, the following argument is the name of the column, which is basically the name of our column, the original column. And then we have a function, third argument containing a function, and this function is the function used to split any column. If you look at the name of this function, it starts with splitter and then .SplitTextByAnyDelimiter. Because using the Power Query editor, we selected ByDelimiter. Here is the function that was selected for this purpose. Let's look at the requirements for this function. We have 2 requirements. First one is the delimiter itself, and then code style.csv. I'm going to ignore this for the moment. Here is the end of this function. So here is only 2 parameters for this function, and now here is the end of this function. And then the final argument for Table.SplitColumn, which is basically the names of the new columns inside curly brackets, meaning that it is a list. Now let's try to do a quick tweak here. Let me try to change the function that used for splitting. I told you that any function splitting the columns will start with splitters. Let me just delete this part and look at the different options. If you look at the second option, it is Splitter.SplitTextByAnyDelimiter. I believe by any delimiter can allow me to give more than one delimiter inside this function, and let's try together. I'm going to select Again, I need to look at the first requirement. Let me just delete the open bracket and put it once more. Here is the requirement, delimiters as a list. So it requires me to provide all the delimiters as a list. To provide a list, I'm going to open a curly bracket. My first delimiter is dash, no problem, and then comma. My second delimiter will be the semicolon. I'm going to type it inside double quote as well, and then comma. My final delimiter will be a space, and also I'm going to type it inside double quote and then close the curly bracket. And I believe this way it will work. Let's try together. I'm going to hit the check mark and let's see what happened. Now I have again two columns. First one containing the customer number and the second one containing only one piece of info, which is basically the invoice number. Why I didn't manage to get the 4 pieces of info or the 4 different columns? Because of the final argument that we have here for the table.split column. So let me at the beginning try to just delete the final argument and see what will happen. I'm going to delete all of this, and also I'm going to delete the comma. This final argument is an optional, so I can just delete and try once more, hit the check mark. Now you will see that I have my 4 columns all separated correctly. The only issue that you'll have now, you will have the original name of the column .1 and then .2 and then I believe .3 and .4 and so on. Now I can use the final argument in order to feed in the right column names. So I'm going here, I'm going inside the formula bar once more, and then comma at the end, open a curly bracket because it needs to be provided into a list. And then I'm going to type customer, comma, double quote once more, invoice, and then amount, comma, month, the check mark. Now all good. In only one applied step, I managed to split the original column into 4 different columns by a small change in the M code. The very final step is to adjust the data types. I'm going to select the first column, hit shift, and then select the final column from transform, detect data type, and now I'm good to go. That was all for today. I hope that was useful for you. If you like the video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment, and we'll catch you in the next video, and bye.